Let's bring in criminal law specialist and attorney Lou Shapiro. Lou, this was the first time hearing publicly from Potter since the incident. What do you make of her defense?
I think it goes both ways, depending on who you ask on social media. If you went right to the Twitter feed after she testified, you saw very polarized reactions. Some people are saying she was very authentic, she was genuine, she really poured her heart out for the jury. And then the other side is calling it crocodile tears. So this is a case where it really comes down to the jury pool. It's the most important part of the case, selecting a jury for each side that is going to align with your views. And depending on how the jury interpreted that emotional reaction, that case will turn on it.
Okay, Lou, now let's move on to another high-profile trial, that of Ghislaine Maxwell. Her defense rested on Friday, calling 9 witnesses over 2 days, trying to poke holes in the prosecution's case. This shortly after Maxwell told the judge she would not be testifying in her own defense. The prosecution previously calling 24 witnesses over 10 days to try and prove Maxwell helped longtime confidant and associate Jeffrey Epstein in a sex trafficking operation. Maxwell has pleaded not guilty. Lou, how effective were the defense witnesses, and will the scapegoat defense work?
So this was the only way the defense could go in this case. They had to say that because Epstein is no longer alive, somebody has to pay the price for the victims. And they're going with Maxwell on that. And up until yesterday, it seemed like Maxwell had a really good fighting chance at this trial, but the judge made a devastating ruling for the defense yesterday. The judge ruled that in the closing argument, the prosecution will be able to argue that Maxwell, if she basically turned a blind eye to what was going on, if she consciously disregarded the actions of Epstein, then she could be found guilty based on that alone. So now the standard is not did she know what was going on and help it, but should she have known? And if she should have known and did not stop it, she can be found guilty according to the judge.
Will Maxwell not testifying hurt her defense?
I think so. Generally, on a case like this where the stakes are very high, where the allegations are egregious, the jury all the more so wants to hear from the defendant. They want to hear an explanation, right? The prosecution just spent over a week with all these witnesses, one after the other, explaining how she was involved, she was tied into this, and she did not stop it. What do you have to say about that? What is your defense? And I think her not testifying could be devastating for them going into the verdict on this one.
And I want to get your thoughts on one more closely watched case, that one involving James and Jennifer Crumbly. They're the parents of Ethan Crumbly, the suspect in a Michigan school shooting. The Crumblys appeared in court earlier this week, pleading not guilty to 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Their 15-year-old son is facing a long list of charges, including 4 counts of first-degree murder after prosecutors say he went on a shooting rampage at Oxford High School, killing 6 students and injuring a teacher and 6 other students. Prosecutors say his father purchased the gun used in the shooting on Black Friday, and they say his mother wrote on Instagram, "Mom and Sunday," testing out his new Christmas present. Lou, why are the Crumblys facing charges when most parents are not charged in these type of cases?
So I think this case is different from many of the others due to one factor, and that is because the parents were actually called into the school in this case, and they were shown the drawings of their son drawing ugly things, violent things, and they were told, please take your son out of the school and get him help. And they decided not to do so. And based on that factor, the prosecution said enough is enough. We are going to start holding parents accountable for not being parents, basically taking the initiative, protecting society. And it is foreseeable now that if parents are not going to do their part, actions are going to happen and they're going to be held accountable for it. That's the prosecution's theory in this case.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of attention on that case in particular because of what precedent it could set in cases like that. Lou Shapiro, thank you so much for your insight, as always.
My pleasure. Good to be here. Thank you.
And still